Zombie children swarm. These little ankle biters represent the most psychologically twisted death you can imagine in an apocalypse. But before we get to the worst part, you need to understand why these small monsters are so much deadlier than their adult counterparts. Regular zombies shamble around like drunk uncles at a family barbecue, but zombie children would fuck you up. They're fast, coordinated, and small enough to crawl through spaces that would stop adult zombies completely. They can easily slip under cars, through ventilation systems, and between fence posts while you're trying to GTFO. When they attack, it's not just one bite and you're done. These things swarm like angry wasps. Dozens of them latch onto your legs, ankles, and lower body all at once. Maybe you can kick a few and knock them out, or something. But in my professional opinion, you're cooked. And here's the part that'll mess with your head forever. You're being eaten alive by creatures that look like the kids you used to see playing in parks, but they're probably green and covered in dirt and shit. Your brain can't process it. While you're screaming and trying to kick them off, part of you is still seeing little children. Death comes slowly through blood loss and shock as you watch helplessly while being consumed piece by piece. But this pales in comparison to what happens when you're trapped underground. Tunnel entrapment. Underground tunnel entrapment with a rising zombie horde. Picture being stuck in subway tunnels or underground bunkers when zombies discover your location. The worst part isn't even the zombies themselves. You've got one way out, and zombies are pouring in through the entrance like water through a broken dam. The tunnel amplifies every sound. Each footstep echoes off the walls. Every moan gets multiplied by 10, and when you start screaming, your own voice bounces back at you from all directions. The confined space means you can't run, can't dodge, can't do anything except watch them shuffle toward you in the darkness. Your flashlight beam shows more and more faces appearing in the tunnel mouth. The psychological torture builds as you realize death isn't just approaching, it's inevitable. You start counting them. 10 zombies, 20, 50, 100. As oxygen gets depleted and the space fills with undead bodies, you're facing suffocation and crushing pressure before they even reach you. When they finally press in from all sides, you're experiencing being crushed and bitten simultaneously. Your ribs crack under the pressure, while teeth sink into whatever flesh they can reach. But at least those people knew what was coming, unlike the soldiers who thought they were safe. Military base overrun. Military base overrun scenarios break people in ways civilian deaths can't. These trained soldiers had every advantage possible, but it didn't matter because sheer numbers beat firepower every single time. When a military installation gets hit by zombie hordes numbering in the hundreds of thousands, you watch your superior weapons become useless toys. Tanks run out of ammunition. Helicopter gunships exhaust their payload. Artillery pieces go silent when the shells run dry. You're watching the most powerful military in human history get overwhelmed by walking corpses. The psychological trauma hits different when you're military trained. These people spent years believing in the power of organization, tactics, and firepower. Watching all of that crumble against endless waves of zombies breaks something fundamental in their worldview. They see fellow soldiers through helmet cameras getting swarmed and devoured while calling for backup that isn't coming. When the perimeter finally breaks, it's not just death they're facing. It's the complete destruction of everything they believed about human capability and military might. Professional soldiers trained to handle combat are reduced to screaming civilians as organized defense turns into pure chaos. But even that's not as twisted as what happens when the virus gets you. Conscious zombie transformation. Zombie bite infection with conscious transformation. The fever is just the beginning of this 48 to 72 hour nightmare where you stay aware while your humanity disappears. Initial symptoms hit like the worst flu you've ever experienced, except your temperature spikes to 104 degrees Fahrenheit or higher. Your body starts cooking itself from the inside while the virus rewrites your nervous system. Muscle spasms rack your entire body as your coordination breaks down. The fever triggers hallucinations that make horror movies look like cartoons. You see zombie attacks that aren't happening. Dead loved ones appear in the room talking to you. Apocalyptic scenarios play out in your mind while you're lying in bed unable to move properly. The terrifying part is, you know these aren't real, but your brain can't tell the difference. As the virus progresses, you feel each system shutting down. First, you lose fine motor control and can't hold objects. Then your heart starts beating irregularly as cardiac function deteriorates. Your speech becomes slurred, then impossible as your throat muscles stop responding. The final stage puts you in a coma, where you're aware but completely paralyzed. You can hear everything around you, feel every sensation, but can't move or speak. You know death is coming, and there's nothing you can do except wait for your consciousness to fade. But being betrayed by zombies is nothing compared to being betrayed by humans. Human bait betrayal. Being used as human bait by your former survival group. The physical pain is nothing compared to what this does to your mind when the people you trusted decide you're expendable. You wake up tied to a post in an open area, while your former friends and family members watch from windows above. They've decided to sacrifice you to buy themselves time to escape. The people who shared food with you, planned survival strategies with you, promised they'd never leave anyone behind, just turned you into zombie food. Zombies start appearing from the tree line, drawn by your struggles and screams. You can see your former allies' faces in the windows above, watching like they're observing some sick science experiment. Some of them look guilty, others look relieved. The psychological torture amplifies every physical sensation. When the first zombie reaches you and starts biting, the pain feels 10 times worse because you know the people who could save you are choosing not to. Each bite carries the weight of ultimate betrayal. You're experiencing the breakdown of human bonds while being literally torn apart. The realization that survival turns people into monsters even before they get infected. That the apocalypse doesn't just kill bodies, it kills souls. But understanding doesn't make the betrayal hurt any less. Cannibalistic survivor butchering. Cannibalistic survivor groups that keep victims conscious during butchering. We're talking about organized human monsters like the groups in Terminus, who turned survival into a horrific industry. These aren't desperate people making impossible choices. These are humans who've decided that other humans are livestock. They've developed systematic methods for keeping victims alive during the butchering process to ensure freshness of the meat. They start with extremities, amputating hands and feet while you're fully conscious. No anesthesia, no mercy, just clinical efficiency. They've learned to control bleeding so you don't pass out or die too quickly. You're forced to watch as they prepare parts of your own body for cooking. The psychological horror goes beyond physical pain. You're witnessing the complete abandonment of human morality. These people have conversations about seasoning while carving pieces off your living body. They discuss cooking techniques while you're screaming. The combination hits you from every angle. Extreme physical agony from conscious dismemberment, psychological trauma from witnessing the depths of human evil, and the existential horror of being reduced to meat while still aware. The apocalypse created these monsters, but they chose to embrace it. The zombies don't even need to bite you for this next death. Zombie swarm crush. Zombie swarm crush in confined spaces. When tens of thousands of undead converge on places like stadiums, shopping malls, or building stairwells, the crushing weight becomes more dangerous than the biting. Picture an endless wave of bodies pressing forward with no awareness of space limitations. They don't stop pushing just because there's no room. They pile on top of each other, creating a crushing weight that builds to thousands of pounds per square inch. Your bones start breaking under the pressure before any zombie gets close enough to bite you. Ribs crack first, making it impossible to breathe properly. Then your arms and legs snap under the weight of bodies pressing down. You're being compressed like you're in a trash compactor made of rotting flesh. The psychological horror comes from seeing that endless wave still approaching, even though there's physically no space left. Your mind can't process the sheer number of bodies. It's like watching a tsunami of undead flesh that never stops growing. When they finally start biting, you're already broken and barely conscious from the crushing, but you can still feel every bite from the zombies closest to you. Multiple sets of teeth sink into whatever parts of your body they can reach, while the weight continues building. You're suffocating, being crushed, and eaten alive all at the same time. The combination of physical trauma, while your mind struggles to process the impossible scale of the horde surrounding you. If you think you would survive a zombie apocalypse, subscribe right now. Failed amputation. You get bitten on your hand or forearm, and your group decides amputation is the only chance to stop the infection from spreading. Problem is, you don't have proper medical equipment, anesthesia, or surgical experience. You've got a hacksaw and some whiskey. The amputation itself becomes a nightmare of amateur surgery. They're sawing through bone while you scream and thrash against whatever's holding you down. The pain is indescribable as they work through muscle, tendons, and finally bone with improvised tools. You endure all of that agony, believing it'll save your life. The physical trauma of losing a limb, the shock from blood loss, the psychological impact of watching part of your body get removed. You tell yourself it's worth it because you'll survive. Then the fever starts anyway. The infection had already spread through your bloodstream before they started cutting. All that suffering, all that trauma, all that false hope, and you're still going to die and transform into a zombie. The crushing realization that your sacrifice meant nothing amplifies every aspect of the trauma. You went through hell for no reason. The people who cut off your limb have to watch their efforts fail while dealing with their own guilt about what they put you through. Unlike human zombies, these next creatures keep their original speed. Zombie Animal Pack Attack. Zombie animal pack attacks combine the worst elements of wildlife encounters with undead horror. Infected dogs, wolves, or other pack animals retain their hunting instincts but lose all fear and pain responses. Regular wild animal attacks end quickly one way or another. Either you escape, fight them off, or they kill you fast. Zombie animals don't have those same limitations. They don't get tired, don't feel pain, and don't stop attacking until they're physically destroyed. A pack of infected dogs surrounds you, using the same tactics they'd use when hunting as living animals. But instead of going for a quick kill, they take turns attacking different body parts while you remain conscious. One goes for your legs to prevent escape, while others attack arms, torso, and face. The familiar appearance makes it psychologically worse. These look like pets you might have owned or seen in neighborhoods. German shepherds, golden retrievers, beagles turned into relentless killing machines. Your brain keeps trying to see them as the loyal companions they used to be. Each bite carries zombie infection, while the pack coordination means you're getting attacked from multiple angles simultaneously. They're fast enough to prevent escape, but methodical enough to keep you alive during the feeding process. The combination of pack hunting intelligence with zombie persistence creates a prolonged attack that your mind can't process. You're being killed by creatures that once provided comfort and companionship to humans. The people trying to save you are about to become your worst nightmare. Hospital patient outbreak. Being a bedridden patient when the zombie outbreak hits the hospital. You're connected to medical equipment, unable to move properly, completely dependent on staff who are about to transform into the things trying to kill you. Hospitals become death traps during outbreaks because of patient density and the fact that many people can't evacuate themselves. You're watching through your room window as chaos erupts in the hallways. Medical staff running past your door, screams echoing from other rooms, emergency alarms blaring. Then your nurse walks in for regular checkup, and you notice the bite mark on her arm. She's trying to maintain professional composure while the infection spreads through her system. You can see the fever building, watch her coordination deteriorate, witness her personality changing as the virus takes hold. The irony is devastating. You're in a place designed for healing, surrounded by people trained to save lives, and it's becoming the site of your most horrific death. The same hands that were checking your IV and adjusting your medication are about to tear your throat out. Medical equipment keeps you conscious and aware throughout the attack. Heart monitors show your vitals spiking as terror sets in. Oxygen tubes ensure you stay conscious longer than you normally would. IV lines pump fluids that keep you alive during the initial stages of being consumed. You experience every moment of terror as the people who provided care transform into the things trying to eat you. The complete inversion of the healing environment into a place of ultimate horror. The zombies aren't even the first thing that's going to kill you. Zombie horde stampede, getting trampled during mass evacuation scenarios before zombies even reach you. When panic hits large crowds, human stampedes become as deadly as the zombies chasing them. Massive evacuation scenes turn into chaos as thousands of people try to escape through limited exit points. Someone trips, falls, and suddenly you're underneath a stampede of terrified humans running for their lives. Hundreds of feet step on your body as people use you as a stepping stone to escape. Your bones break under the weight of desperate survivors. Arms snap, ribs crack, skull fractures as person after person runs across your broken body. You're conscious for all of it because the trampling happens fast enough that you don't die immediately. Then the zombie horde catches up to the crowd. Now you're getting trampled by both fleeing humans and pursuing zombies. The undead don't avoid stepping on you either. They just walk straight across your broken body while trying to catch the people ahead. When some zombies stop to feed on your trampled form, you're already broken in multiple places. Every bite hurts worse because your body is already trauma from the crushing. You're experiencing compound fractures, internal bleeding, and zombie bites all at once. The psychological trauma comes from being abandoned by your own species. Fellow survivors used your body to escape instead of helping you up. The realization that survival makes people abandon basic human decency even before they get infected. You're still completely aware as your body literally falls apart. Conscious decomposition. Infected wound gangrene that causes conscious decomposition while you remain aware. Zombie bites sometimes don't kill immediately, but instead cause necrotizing fasciitis-like infections that make your flesh rot while you're still alive. The infection spreads rapidly through your tissue, causing sections of your body to blacken and die, while your nervous system stays functional. You watch your own skin change color, feel the texture becoming soft and putrid, smell the overwhelming stench of your own rotting flesh. Nerve endings get destroyed in waves, creating patterns of excruciating pain followed by complete numbness. You'll feel burning agony in one section of rotting tissue while losing all sensation in another part that's already too damaged to transmit pain signals. The smell becomes unbearable. You're producing the stench of advanced decomposition while still breathing, still conscious, still aware that the rotting meat used to be part of your living body. The odor triggers constant nausea, but you're too weak to vomit properly. Hallucinations from the infection make it worse. Your brain starts malfunctioning as toxins build up in your system. You see things that aren't there, have conversations with people who died days ago, experience false memories of events that never happened. The combination of physical decay, overwhelming pain, terrible smells, and mental breakdown creates a prolonged death that attacks every sense simultaneously. You're experiencing advanced decomposition while remaining conscious enough to understand what's happening to you. Each zombie wants a different part of you. Zombie mob feeding frenzy. Single victim becoming the focus of a large zombie group that shares you among multiple feeders. Different zombies claim different body parts and start pulling you in multiple directions while each begins feeding simultaneously. When a group of zombies discover discovers you, they don't form an orderly line. Each zombie that reaches you latches onto whatever body part is closest and starts feeding immediately. One grabs your left arm, another your right leg, a third goes for your torso, while others fight over your head and remaining limbs. You're being pulled apart like a wishbone, as each zombie tries to drag their claimed section away from the group. The physical sensation is indescribable as your joints separate under the opposing forces. Your shoulder dislocates as two zombies pull your arms in different directions. Each zombie is biting and tearing at their section while the pulling continues. You're experiencing multiple simultaneous bite wounds, the agony of joints separating, and the psychological horror of watching your body get divided up like a holiday dinner. Different zombies work at different speeds. Some bite rapidly and tear away chunks of flesh quickly. Others chew more methodically. You can see multiple faces consuming different parts of your body while each uses their own feeding technique. The chaos of multiple attackers means the death isn't quick or efficient. There's no coordination to ensure you die fast. Instead, you remain conscious through most of the feeding process as each zombie focuses on their claimed section. You're witnessing your own body being literally shared among a group while remaining aware enough to see each individual zombie's face as they consume you. They thought they were finally safe, but false safety collapse. Having your secure defenses fail after establishing a false sense of safety. The psychological trauma of losing sanctuary makes the death more horrific than if you'd never felt protected. You spend weeks or months building what seems like the perfect safe house. Reinforced doors, boarded windows, multiple escape routes, stockpiled supplies, every detail planned and executed to create a zombie-proof sanctuary. You finally relax, finally feel like you've beaten the apocalypse. Then you wake up to zombies inside your safe space. Maybe they found a weakness in your defenses you missed. Maybe your reinforcements failed over time. Maybe another survivor let them in accidentally. Doesn't matter how it happened, just that your sanctuary has been violated. The death becomes exponentially more traumatic because it follows a period of hope and relief. You had started planning for the future again, started believing survival was possible. Your mind had adapted to feeling secure, which makes the terror hit harder when that security gets destroyed. You're facing zombies in the space you considered sacred. Every corner you thought was safe becomes a place of horror. The furniture you arranged for comfort becomes obstacles preventing escape. The supplies you stockpiled become useless as you're hunted through rooms you thought were protected. The psychological violation adds another layer to the physical terror of being eaten. It's not just your body being destroyed, it's the destruction of your belief that safety is possible anywhere. The realization that nowhere is truly secure in this new world. Your last thoughts aren't just about dying, but about the fact that hope itself was the cruelest joke of all. With over 1.0 pounds of bite force, here's what happens. Face and throat targeting. Facial zombie bites that destroy your identity while you remain conscious. Enhanced zombie jaw strength can exert over 1.0 pounds per square inch of bite force, easily crushing facial bones and destroying features. Your face contains the highest concentration of nerve endings in your body, making facial bites exponentially more painful than bites to other areas. When zombie teeth sink into your cheek, forehead, or jaw, you're experiencing pain levels that your brain isn't designed to process. The psychological trauma goes beyond physical pain. Your face is your identity, how you recognize yourself and how others recognize you. Watching your features get destroyed means watching your sense of self disappear in real time. Mirrors become horror shows as you see what used to be a human face turning into unrecognizable torn flesh. Enhanced jaw strength means facial bones crumble under the bite pressure. Your cheekbones crack, your jaw dislocates, your skull fractures as teeth designed for tearing flesh meat bone that evolved to protect soft tissue. The structural damage happens instantly, but the pain lasts as long as you remain conscious. Throat bites combine the pain of facial attacks with the terror of suffocation. You feel your airway being crushed while simultaneously experiencing the agony of having your neck torn open. Blood fills your throat as you're trying to breathe, creating a drowning sensation while being eaten alive. The combination destroys both your physical identity and your ability to breathe or speak during the attack. You can't even scream properly as your vocal cords get damaged. Your last sounds are just wet gurgling as you die without being able to express your pain. You can't tell what's real anymore, but you know you're dying. Extended fever hallucinations. Extended zombie fever hallucinations, where you remain aware but helpless during the 48-hour transformation process. Your mind creates a living nightmare, while your body temperature rises to brain-damaging levels. The prolonged fever from zombie infection triggers hallucinations that make reality disappear. You see zombie attacks that aren't happening, dead loved ones talking to you, apocalyptic scenarios playing out around your bed. The terrifying part is you know these aren't real, but your overheated brain can't distinguish between hallucination and reality. Visual hallucinations mix with auditory ones, creating complete sensory chaos. You see zombies climbing through windows that aren't open while hearing explosions from battles that aren't happening. Your fever-cooked brain creates an entire alternate reality of horror, while you're lying helpless in bed. Temperature exceeding 104 degrees Fahrenheit literally cooks your brain tissue, causing permanent damage even if you somehow survive the infection. You feel your intelligence degrading in real time as higher brain functions shut down from the heat. Complex thoughts become impossible as fever destroys the neural pathways that make you human. The worst part is you remain conscious throughout the process. You're aware enough to know you're dying and transforming, but powerless to stop it. You understand that the hallucinations aren't real, but can't make them stop. You know your brain is being damaged, but can't prevent it. You experience every moment of losing your humanity while being trapped inside your own overheated skull. The fever creates a 48-hour nightmare, where you're dying slowly while your mind tortures you with visions of horrors that feel completely real. Your last coherent thought is the realization that becoming a zombie might actually be a relief after what the transformation process put you through. If you enjoyed this video and want to see every way to survive the first year of a zombie outbreak, click the video on the screen.